Hello, everyone. We are so excited to see not only all of you here, but such an amazingly active chat, sharing all of your Instagram handles. Absolutely encourage you all to follow each other and get to know each other as you're here today. So for those of you who have not been to a Level Up webinar, you're in for a true treat today. I'm joined by an amazing cast of folks who are true experts in the social media space. I have Mavi Arias, who is our social media manager here at Faire, and it has a true just expertise in all things when it comes to social, which I'm excited for her to share more on that. And as a special guest, I also have the co-founders of Pistakio, Francine Voigt and Nico Buffo, who are based in Portland and have an incredible brand and an incredibly amazing social story that I can't wait for you all to hear. So we'll get into it to give you a little bit more of what to expect. So if you have been to a Level Up webinar before, feel free to share it in the chat. If this is your first time, one thing to be clear on is that we will always be recording these sessions and share them out with you afterwards, so do not fret about missing anything. I also want to introduce you to a couple of resources along the way. Feel free to use the chat. We also have the docs section, which you can find really helpful resources along the way. And for any questions that come up, we feel really excited about being able to answer a lot of questions you already shared with us, but feel free to share those in the Q&A section, and then our team will do its very best to answer questions that you have related to social media. And as a quick reminder, we have a lot of great resources for you available 24/7, so be sure to not miss these, from learn.faire.com to blog, to Help Center, to our social community, and of course, our newsletter. And in terms of what we'll cover today, I'll kick off with talking a little bit more about building trust. I'll have Mavi cover social foundations. Then we'll get into some Faire best practices and how to utilize Faire tools to do that. And we'll save a ton of the spotlight for Pistakio to talk about their story and their brand and a lot of amazing tips with real examples for you all. And we'll close out with a little bit of a workshop for some lucky volunteers who share that they'd love some insight and some Q&A from you all. And with that, let's get into building trust. So I'm sure you all are feeling in this, AI world that what is real and what is not, and what's authentic and what is not, is very much a real dilemma in terms of how we actually make decisions and buying decisions, especially. And trust is truly a consumer currency and something that we're seeing to be even more prevalent more and more today. And it is something that is also we're seeing very clearly demonstrated in the retailer perspective. And when it comes to brands, nearly half of surveyed retail brands, regardless of their level of social media maturity, report that building customer communities is one of the most effective tactics for expanding customer relationships, specifically on social platforms. And on the retailer side, we've actually done our own research with both retailers on Faire and off of Faire, and we found that in terms of what actually influences a lot of their product discovery, 63% of them are saying that social media highly influences these decisions and this discovery process. And they also are saying that 65% are being influenced by retailers or other peers in their spaces in terms of how they're thinking about new products. So what does that mean when it comes to also to consumers making these decisions? So when a consumer is actually finding your brand, what are they looking for? What are they looking to evaluate? One of the first is, of course, value, which shouldn't come as a surprise in terms of value for their dollars, especially in a time when people are really considerate of that. Second is customer reviews. So think about those peers. Is it feel like they're getting the quality? Is it real? Is it authentic? Thirdly, product details. Are you answering a lot of the questions that this potential consumer has in your product descriptions, through social, through customer reviews? And then lastly is ease of payment. So are you being able to make a frictionless, basically checkout interaction with your consumers and or retailers? So this translates to the B2B world or the wholesale sphere in a couple of ways. And some things that you can do to actually help de-risk some of that decision-making or evaluation process is by using familiar tools. So think of Square for point of sales or Faire, for example. Secondly, having peer and retailer social proof, demonstrating really clear value either in your products or also in the terms you're offering, incentives that you are able to offer and extend. And then on the other side, things that might kind of distract from that are potential over-rotation to paid or performative influence or bad reviews, which of course they come, it's natural. And there are really great ways to mitigate it through using some of the social and community interaction, which we'll get to in a little bit. And with that, I will hand it off to Mavi to talk all about social foundations, which I know you guys will learn a lot from her.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Mavi, and as Sarah mentioned, I'm the social media manager here at Faire, and I'm really excited to walk you through the social media foundations. So let's get to it. So let's start with the biggest misconception we see brands make on social. And the number one question most brands ask me all the time is, how do I get more followers? And it makes sense. Followers feel like growth, they feel like momentum, they feel like visibility. But that's actually the wrong first question. The better question is, how do I build trust? Because followers without trust do not convert. Trust is what turns a viewer into a retailer. Trust is what turns a first order into a long-term wholesale relationship. So before you think about scale on social media, you need a strong social foundation. If you only focus on follower growth, you'll chase numbers. If you focus on trust, growth becomes a byproduct. In wholesale specifically, retailers are not just buying product. They're choosing a partner. They're choosing brands they feel aligned with, brands they feel inspired by, and brands they feel relatable to them and to their customer. So the real question isn't how do I grow followers faster? It's how do I become a brand retailers trust enough to place their first order? That's the foundation everything else will build on. And that's what I'll be covering today. It's those social foundations. Now, here's the important part. When we say social foundations, we don't just mean mindset, we also mean setup. The foundation we're about to walk through is very practical. It might feel very beginner, but I really encourage you to see if there might be a little piece that you might be missing. So it's your foundational profile basics and setup that make your Instagram wholesale ready. Because once this foundation is strong, then you can focus on building trust and credibility with intention. The next few slides are going to break that down. We'll talk about SEO in your profile and how retailers find you, making sure your bio clearly communicates what you offer, optimizing your link in bio so that there's a clear wholesale path, and some more core basics so every surface on Instagram is working for you and not against you. This section is kind of like tightening your storefront before you try to drive more traffic to it. Okay, first things first is setting up your profile. If a retailer lands on your profile, the first and these are the three key areas we're going to focus on today. First, your name field at the top right. This is especially important for brands who are maybe looking to get discovered on Instagram. This is searchable. Instagram treats this like SEO. So instead of just your brand name, consider adding keywords that describe what you sell. For example, in the screenshot here, we have the brand, and here we are, letterpress cards and gifts. Another great ones that I found that are not screenshotted here that I think are really great examples is Jenny Lemon's food-themed accessories or original duck head, umbrellas, and reusable bags. And this is really great because if people are searching these keywords on Instagram, you want your profile to show up, and it's really just a great way to leverage this area. Second, your bio itself. Your bio should answer, what do you sell? Who is it for? And why is it special? And are you wholesale ready? Retail should not have to guess. And here is a great example of how their bio tells us this in the screenshot above. And then third, your link in bio. When a retailer clicks that link, what do they see? We recommend a link in bio tool that creates clear paths. For example, visit our website, shop spring collection, shop wholesale, and meet the brand. You want to remove friction from your buyers and really make it easy for retailers to, one, understand how to buy from you, and two, quickly access your Faire Direct link. This is a reminder that clarity builds credibility. Okay, now that we've talked about the social foundations, I kind of want to hear from you guys. What types of Instagram content are you creating today? And you guys can vote in the poll on the chat. Perfect. Okay. Thank you for answering. And now that your profile foundation is strong, let's talk about how to actually use the platform strategically. One of the biggest mistakes brands make is treating Instagram like it's a one feed. But Instagram is made up of different surfaces, and each surface has a different job. If you understand what each one is designed to do, you can be much more intentional with your content. Now let's break down how different Instagram surfaces actually function, because not all content formats do the same job. So first we have Reels and carousels, as you see above here. Both of these formats can help you reach new audiences. Reels are your strongest discovery tool. Instagram pushes them beyond your follower base. But carousels also travel. Strong carousels that drive saves and shares can expand your reach and get surface to new people. So if you want discoverability, Reels and carousels are your top two that you should be leveraging. Now, carousels are really unique because they also play a second role. Carousels, single photos, and stories are powerful for engaging your existing followers. These formats deepen connection. Carousels educate, single images clarify your product, and stories build daily familiarity. This is where trust is built over time with your followers. Then we move into more depth. We have lives and broadcast channels. These nurture your most loyal followers. These are for the people who are already paying attention, are engaging in your comments, are in your DMs. Lives build real-time credibility, and channels allow direct ongoing communication. So think of Instagram less as one platform and more as layered surfaces. Some surfaces help you get discovered, some help you build trust, and some help you nurture loyalty. When you understand that, your content becomes strategic instead of reactive. So now that we understand the different surfaces on Instagram and what each one is designed to do, let's talk about what actually makes content perform on those surfaces. Here's how I like to think about it, because not all engagement is equal on Instagram especially. A like is passive, it's easy, it takes one tap, and I think it's a great start. But a comment requires intention. A save is a strong signal that someone found your content valuable enough to come back to it. And a share is one of the strongest signals that your content is worth distributing. The deeper the action, the stronger the signal to the algorithm. And this is especially important for you, the brands. You don't just want passive likes. You want retailers saving your latest collection so that when they come back to it, when they're planning to place their next order, they already have it saved. You want retailers sharing your launch announcement with their internal team. You want buyers commenting with real questions. That's meaningful interaction. And Instagram rewards meaningful interactions. So instead of asking, how do I get more likes? We should start asking, would a retailer save this when I'm creating the content? Would they share this with their team? And would this spark a question in the comments? Because that actually drives reach and discoverability within your audience. Now that we understand engagement and how it works and why meaningful interaction matters, let's talk about something brands ask me all the time as well. Should we be participating in trends? Social media moves fast. There's new trends every week, new audios, new formats, new prompts. And trends can absolutely help you enter conversations and increase visibility. But the key here is not every trend is meant for your brand, and that's okay. When you choose to participate in a trend, it should both feel timely and true to your brand. Ask yourself, how does this feel aligned to who we are? Does it speak to our customers or our retailers? Or are we just jumping in to stay relevant? A great recent example that I've seen brands like Pistakio participate is in this trend where people shared a baby photo of themselves and said, this is who's packaging your orders, or this is who's pitching themselves at grocery stores. It's simple, it's human, it shows that there are real people behind the brand. And that kind of trend works because it reinforces something really important here, which is connection, especially in wholesale. Retailers want to know who they're buying from. Trends like this help humanize your brand and just beyond the product. But if a trend doesn't align with their identity, it's okay to skip it. You do not need to participate in every conversation. Trends should amplify who you are and not distract from it. Now I'll pass it back to Sarah.
Sorry about that. So I'm back. I'm not unmuted. So in terms of Mavi's insights, I highly recommend you checking out her Q&A blog content that's located in the docs. She has so much insight to share, and I've learned so much from her myself. So let's talk a little bit more about Faire best practices. So now that you know the basics and foundational elements of social, what can you do related to Faire to drive more growth and more sales? So one of the first and foremost tools that we absolutely recommend you to be leveraging is Faire Direct. So sharing your Faire Direct link wherever your customers are is our number one recommendation to not only increase sales and ease for both you and your customers, but also lock in the best benefits when it comes to terms, incentives, et cetera, and ease of ordering. For a number one must, we strongly recommend you have this available on your brand website, either through a widget or linked on a wholesale tab, et cetera. This is a really easy way to just make sure you're capturing any interest of people who land on your website. And of course, we want to make sure that you're capturing any interest from those who are finding you on social. And for what it's worth, it's important to note that all orders that actually come through Faire Direct are at no commission. So a total win-win when it comes to driving sales. And another great bonus of using Faire Direct is that external engagement signals from folks who are actually clicking into this link helps us better understand who's engaging with your brand, who's wanting to buy from you, so we can actually surface you to more retailers on Faire's marketplace in the best possible way. So as you can see here, Faire Direct can be used in a multitude of ways, from website to in-person, et cetera. We're going to focus a little bit more about how you can use the Faire Direct link to go ahead and promote on social media. So let's dive into some examples. So the first one here is a great one from Redcap Cards. So this is speaking to exactly what Mavi talked about, which is making your Faire Direct link and Faire Shop as accessible as possible in your bio and also in your link in bio. So in this case, they have it readily there. They mention Faire and mention Wholesale. And as a buyer or potential browser, I'm able to just go ahead and log in and log into my account or sign up for an account with Faire to go ahead and start seeing what I could potentially do with Wholesale. The next is another great trick, which is adding a wholesale tab to your highlights. So with that wholesale highlight, you can go ahead and share any prominent information about how you manage wholesale, including your Faire Direct link, sharing what Topshop means, sharing the incentives behind Faire. And this is a really great thing to go to refresh on a quarterly basis. And then another great tip is to promote Faire benefits. So under that wholesale tab, maybe you have examples of Faire market benefits, overall buying with you on Faire, hassle-free, the incentives, net terms, et cetera. Really demonstrate why it's impactful and helpful for both you and the buyer to go ahead and use Faire as a way to purchase wholesale. And lastly, we see that over 40% of retailers said that they trust other retailers or peers most when making buying decisions. So a really great way to kind of do a double win here is by having a section or a highlight that talks about your shelfies, if you will, or where you can find your products. And these are great examples from both NCLA and Mama Teeves, which is the chili crisp brand, that showcase where their brands are stocked. And also where you can find them from both the consumer base and also as a retailer, I'm seeing how these are merchandised, how they're shelved, and how I can actually get excited about what this could look like on my own store shelves. Oops, one more. And with that in mind, I'm curious, how do you all plan to make it even easier for retailers to buy from you on Faire? If you go to the polls tab, you'll see there's a quick poll. We'd love to learn more. And it looks like we've got some excitement to add Faire Direct to your socials. Amazing. Love it. And one bonus that we have for you all today is we've actually just introduced some new and fresh designs for Instagram stories. So if you go to the docs section, we have both a UK version and a North American version of a story that you can go ahead and share and post on your own highlight starting today. So go ahead and start downloading and using that. And with that, we can go ahead and get to our main event, which is the amazing Pistakio team. And I am here with both Francine and Nico, who have been just truly such a joy to work with and learn from in terms of their abilities and ability to generate community in an incredible product. I actually used some of their Pistakio spread myself in my yogurt this morning, and it was delicious. And for you all to understand just how savvy they are, not only in social, but also in their business, a few numbers to run by you. On social, they have over 28,000 followers on Instagram, 5,500 followers on TikTok, over 540,000 TikTok likes. And one of their peak posts received 9.4 million views on TikTok, which is incredibly impressive. And when it comes to On Faire, in nearly 2 years on Faire, Pistakio has generated over $450,000 in sales, with over half of them being from Faire Direct, meaning that they're getting no commission for those orders. They also do an incredible job converting, 2 times the average conversion for food and bev brands on Faire, so a great one to watch and follow along at Eat Pistakio. And they've already sold over 17,000 products of just their creamy pistachio spread alone. So they are incredibly compelling, and I cannot wait for you all to hear more about their story. They have so much to share. So take some notes out of their book, and I'll let them take the floor.
Thank you so much for all the kind words, Sarah. It's great to be here. We are huge fans of Faire and what Faire does for small businesses like ours. So it's great to be here with all you guys. And before we dive into all things social, we want to give a little bit of a background on Pistakio. As you can see from the timeline, Pistakio started in college for a capstone project with the mission of bringing true pistachio flavors to the US. And we had no idea how to create a business. Pistakio was never meant to be really a business in the beginning. But what we did since the beginning, since it was a social project, was to create an Instagram account. And as you can see from the timeline, 2024 was our kind of first year when we launched, started going viral and getting picked by the first few publications. And we got into our first 300 stores. But what I really want to focus on here is the time frame between April 2023, when we had our first farmers market pop-up, to April 2024, when we officially launched. And for a whole year, we didn't have a product, if not like a couple of prototypes here and there, but we continued posting on social almost every day, way before it was a real business. Social media became for us the foundation and kind of like the foundation for our brand story and what we started building on. And we started growing this community of pistachio lovers even before we had a product, even while this was just an idea. And that helped creating the product that that community wanted. So I would say that most of what we achieved so far has been through social media. So let's get into our approach and strategy.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to get into a little bit of the strategy of Pistakio social media. And first and foremost, I kind of wanted to just like rewind and explain why social media was created in the first place. So when Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook for the first time, it was designed for connection and for him getting in touch with his friends, not necessarily for selling. And to this day, that is what social media is about. The best type of content is the content that makes people feel something. So that's where Pistakio's social media strategy starts. It's about us showing up as our most authentic selves and putting real energy into the people that are there that actually care about us. Because community isn't about constantly trying to reach new people. It's built by nurturing the ones who are already there. And us at Pistakio, we genuinely feel like our customers are our friends, because when we first started our Instagram account, they were our friends. They were people from our college, our peers. So we would talk to them like we would talk to our best friends. We would send voice notes over DMs, emojis. We would get an email and send a bunch of exclamation jokes and have exclamation points and have inside jokes, because when people feel that, they give it right back. They'll tag us in a recipe that they make at home. They'll send us an email saying that they just made a pistachio tiramisu for their dinner party. And that kind of relationship doesn't come from treating social media like a sales channel, but it comes from constantly putting in care and actually enjoying the conversation that we have with our audience. And that kind of authenticity is also what builds trust. People will see right through someone trying to be something that they're not, especially on social media. And that goes into every business having their own type of secret sauce, which is something that you need to figure out, because whatever business you have, that makes you you, and you have to lean into it 100%. So some examples of your secret sauce could be your founder story. That was something that we realized worked really well because people love to hear our founder story. Nico's Italian, and whenever he talks about being a founder and starting in Italy, people feel that our brand is authentic. So we started leaning into it more. And that could also be anything from a cool production process that you own, or a regenerative farming process, or where you source your product. Any of that could be your secret sauce. but remember to not stop sharing content that you worked so hard on. You have to continue showing up, being consistent, engaging. And that doesn't necessarily mean posting every day, but it does mean that you should always, always be a part of the conversation. You always want to be top of mind in social media. So showing up in other similar posts where your audience might find you, responding to DMs all the time, not necessarily just posting for the sake of posting. And using these tactics, you don't have to stress about selling on social media because let's be real, nobody's really opening up Instagram hoping to be marketed to. But when you're a part of the conversation, you're going to be top of mind. People are going to remember you and come back to you and eventually see you in their grocery store or in their nearest independent store. And that's what's actually going to drive sales and convert.
Okay, so you might be asking yourself, how do I sell to buyers? Or how can I create content that buyers want to see without alienating all my other consumers or my direct consumer people? And the answer is easier than what you may think, because buyers, similarly to your direct consumer customers, are humans. Behind every order you receive, whether it's coming from Faire, whether it's a customer at a farmer's market, whether it's Costco buyer or a local cafe, there's a person. Direct to consumer, customers, retail buyers, cafe owners, they're all moved by the same levers, and they all connect with stories, founders, and missions. People connect with other people and connect with stories, not company or corporations. So when you're brainstorming what content to post or what to put out there, don't ask yourself what content would a buyer want to see, but try to switch the picture and try to ask yourself, what content would I want to see? When I discover a new brand, all that I want to know is who started the brand, why did they start it, how did they start it, how was their journey like, what made them different? And this is exactly what buyers want to know too. So by creating content that talks about you and what makes you special, you automatically get content that answer all the questions that both your customers and buyers have about your brand. And in that way, you're able to engage with both of them without alienating anyone or making anyone feel like they're being sold, by making them feel like they're part of your journey and your story.
Okay, so if you're turning on social media, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to turn on 10 different platforms and post 7 different times a week. At Pistakio, we mainly focus on the content that works, and we only activate 2 social media channels, Instagram and TikTok. And only recently have we activated TikTok. We used to just be Instagram, and we would post about our journey on there and created our community through it. But now, instead of just posting for the sake of posting, we try to create stories around what's happening in our business in real time and bring people along the journey. This is where your secret sauce comes in. You have to try these different formats before you get the right thing. You're not going to get the right thing immediately. You're not going to post something and, I mean, you might post something and it'll go viral. But for us, we used to try to make aesthetically pleasing carousels that looked amazing on our feed, but they took us forever to make and they never performed. So that means they were shown to no one and they had no reach. So we tried something new. And after finding that thing that started to finally work, we leaned into it. For us, we noticed that people loved seeing the behind the scenes of our production process and how we were kind of like moving along the journey, what kind of product we were making, and all these little raw moments of our production. So we started doubling down on it. Now, there are a few different pillars of content that we focus on, and we tell ourselves if it doesn't hit any of these pillars that we really want to come across as a brand, then we won't post it. So our piece of advice is to write a list that you want people to know, of things that you want people to know about your brand, and ask yourself before making the content, what is the goal of this post? So one thing on our list, which is part of our mission, is that Pistakio uses real pistachios. Unlike other brands, we don't have any artificial flavors or colors. So we started trying to find ways to talk about that in engaging formats. And one of the ways was through this middle post here on the slide, where it was April Fool's and we had no idea what to post. And we realized that we wanted to talk about the message of the brand and how we don't use artificial flavors or colors. So we made this fake neon green product, and it got so much, and it also just told the story of Pistakio and showed the quality of our product. And then another one was this reel that, how come your pistachio spread is in bright green? And it was a trending reel, but we decided to put our own twist on it, and it did super well too. So my last little tidbit is, especially with AI nowadays, people are a lot more interested in seeing the raw and the messy, the real, rather than all of the polished AI slop that's going around social media. So don't worry so much about making it perfect. Focus on the core of the message.
Another thing that's been huge for us is social media, or using social media to prove that there's demand for our product. When you're walking on the street and you see, let's say, an ice cream shop with a line all the way around the block, your mind is thinking, oh, the ice cream gotta be really good. But since we don't have a physical store, how do we show people that our product is so good? And the answer is social and content. Because at the end of the day, retail buyers are all thinking the same thing. Will this product actually move from a shelf? If I buy it, will my customer buy it? And instead of telling them, we show that through our content. So this works on a couple of levels, because for consumers, it builds credibility and creates a sense of excitement. When people see others buying, using your product, talking about your product, it makes them feel like they are missing out. They want to be a part of it too. And for retailers, it's more of the validation side, because it shows that there's already demand and that there's people that are actively looking for your product, and that it's not just going to sit on the shelf once they bring it in. So we always try to intentionally create content that highlights this momentum, whether it's like packing orders, selling out, customers using Pistakio, people tagging us, sharing recipes. We always try to use this content and repurpose it and re-show it in our stories or re-share it around for more people to see. In the past year and a half, we tried to taking this a little step further with retail-driven campaigns. For example, you can see the one on the left is our cafe tour, where we partner with coffee shop that orders through Faire. So we drove our audience directly to these stores, and it created excitement, not just for our customers that were able to finally taste pistachio at the local coffee shops, but also for the coffee shop themselves, because they had something new and exciting, as well as a completely new set of customers that were going into the stores just to try this pistachio special. Another example, the one on the right, is when Misfits placed their first PO, which was our biggest PO to date, and they sold that, like they took all of our inventory. We directed our audience to shop directly on the Misfit platform, and they sold them out in like 4 days, which was great because it made Misfits happy because they sold out of our inventory. And at the same time, it made our customers happy because they got the chance to buy Pistachio with free shipping. So these moments do more than just drive sales, and they show retailers that your product is a product that people want, is a product that people love, and it's a product that people move, which is what they care the most about. So always try to think about how you can show that there's proof for your product, and always try to show that you're building this momentum, and then there's a lot of people excited about what you're doing.
Our last piece of advice is for founders who aren't necessarily native to social media, or if you're feeling a little stuck. Because from experience, it wasn't always easy for us to also be the face of the brand and show ourselves on social, but we knew that we had to be, because we're both Gen Z and we were starting in college and it was a social media class. So when we launched our Instagram, we didn't even have a product. And the easiest place to start for us was to just record everything we were doing. We couldn't put pictures of our product. So we just had to put videos of us talking about the steps we were taking to actually build our business. Because when you're building your business, I feel like we get so immersed in it that it starts to feel normal for us. But the reality is that being a founder is not normal. And every founder journey is completely different. And that's exactly the type of content that people want to see, because it feels raw and it feels real, and people will connect with that before they'll ever connect with a product. So that's why we started posting our behind the scenes content, the small moments, and the day-to-day process. And it's because it matters so much for humans to be able to see other humans do something. So we built the connection through this raw content in a way that polished content never can. And the best part is that any of these little clips that you get can be repurposed. You don't always have to carve out extra time to make something completely new, because you can just use anything that you're doing, whether you're packing orders, going to a new account, doing a product shoot, going to visit your farm. One clip doesn't have to just be one post, but that type of footage can be reused for a founder story, a trending reel, a behind the scenes moment, or just a post with text overlay. So that way it becomes less about constantly trying to create something new and making time for it, and more about just getting the most of what you already have. Lastly, consistency is key. And this is an easy way to just be consistent because you're doing something almost every single day. So that's our last little tidbit of advice. And now I'm going to pass it back to Sarah for some Q&A.
Wow, I am just truly blown away every single time you guys talk about all of your insights. I hope everyone learned something new. I feel like I can guarantee everyone did. So thank you so much for all of your storytelling and all these great examples and ideas. So now we're going to get into some fun and answer some of the additional questions that you all had, and also do a little bit of workshopping with some brands who submitted some requests to get a little help. So we have an amazing cast with both Pistakio team and Mavi, if we want to have her join us as well. And the first question is from Mila at Soapy Bath Products. And she said, what specific trust signals do retailers look for to feel confident in the product quality? So specifically thinking about sensory forward products like bath, candles, foods, clothes. Pistakio team, I feel like you guys are very primed to answer this well. So I'll hand it over to you for either some ideas and how you think about it.
I would say the most important thing is trying to market your product through the senses. So for example, try to show how it feels, how it looks, how it tastes, how it sounds. You can show all of this through clips. For example, for us, we found out that every time we're putting a video out on social, whether it was Instagram or TikTok, of us pouring a batch of pistachio or spooning pistachio off a jar, the video was doing super well because it was showing how our product was either super creamy or super crunchy, like very indulgent, and people almost like wanted to eat it through the screen. So we realized that was like our special way to show and get people really like excited about our product. Every product is a little bit different. So I would say that, for example, if your product is super crunchy, do ASMR video in which you're literally eating the product on a microphone, because people love that type of content too. So always try to think what makes your product special and what are those like value or attributes that you really want people to know about your product, and try to shoot clips around it to really highlight those special attributes of your product.
I think also part of what makes retailers really trust us, and even our audience really trust us, is that we actually show them our production process. We don't hide much. We put everything out on social media and we show them like how we're making a batch, when we're filling it. And I feel like them being able to see it, that it's done by hand and that it's made with care and that it's a small batch product, which I think a lot of people have, makes them feel more confident that we're putting care and quality into it. And then on top of that, we're always reposting every time someone leaves a review of Pistakio or like does a taste test or posts us on social media somehow, we'll always repost it and reshare it. And just then being able to see that makes them feel confident that the product is actually good and that it's not just us saying this is delicious, it's other people too.
Such good insight. And I'm curious, do you guys have any tips on, or any thoughts or creative thoughts around what might be good for a scent focused product in addition?
I would say like what really works for us, other than the content that we put out there, is the content that other people put out there about Pistakio. So even getting people to do a live review or people to try it and then leaving there like a little video, even smelling it and be like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I feel like people trust other people in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like if you see someone really loving what they're smelling or loving what they're tasting, you kind of think, okay, like if they like it, I'll probably like it too, especially if it's like a creator that you follow or someone that you know. So I would say that when you're not able to like tap into the senses, tap into like other people showing you and like that proof of concept that you can get from other people reviewing or like really liking your product. Because I feel like if you have like 1,000 people saying, oh my gosh, this smells so good, then
it creates a FOMO effect.
Mhm.
So even if they can't actually smell it, if they're hearing you say that it smells really good over and over again, and different people saying that, then I feel like they want to know what it smells like. And most likely they're going to purchase it the first time and then come and reorder again.
Great tips. And also I see so many great ideas in the chat. So continue to do that. Everyone who's here, so many good insights from all sorts of brands. And with that, we'll move into the next question. So this one comes from Wayne at Bear With Me Toys, who makes lovely and super cute plush toys. So how do we use AI and not be another dime a dozen content? It's something that's certainly relevant. And specifically, I think something to think about too is what tools or apps can you also use to just drive more efficiency and how you're thinking about this? I'll hand it over to Mavi to answer this one.
Perfect. Yeah, I think recently there's been a report of 98% of consumers agree that authentic images and videos are kind of very pivotal, especially right now with AI. So really like leaning into making sure that your content feels as authentic as possible. And I think just a really great example at like we have right here is Pistakio. They do a really great job at showcasing their product, specifically with plush toys. I think when I was really thinking about this question was like, how can you take us behind the scenes? How do you make this AI, like how do you make plush toys come to life? Kind of like a Build-A-Bear situation here going on. Can we make that really creative? Are you stuck on an idea? Instead, use AI to leverage it more for ideas rather than completely leaning in to make your content. So for example, if I'm like, okay, I have this brand, we do plush toys, I'm going to show behind the scenes on how I build and how we make mass produce all of these. Can I use AI and ask it like, hey, help me come up with a fun idea on how to bring this to life on social? I would leverage AI for those and really let that guide you. And then also using the right tools as well, I think is really important. There's so many great tools personally. Like I really love CapCut. They have templatized ways to edit your content and really they're really smart about it. I just upload and it will kind of like cut it up for me. And then I just kind of like finesse with it and make it right where I need it to be. I think leveraging AI that way will really help take time off and help you spend time in doing what you like to do the most, which is whether creating the content or editing the content. I'd love to hear what Pistakio thinks as well.
I think I was going to say the same thing. I don't feel like AI is at a place where it can create content for you because I think you're just going to be that dime in a dozen. You're just going to be like everyone else, and that's what people are going to scroll through. But I think that for us, what we try to do is have it like help us brainstorm. So if we're trying to come up with an idea for a campaign that we're doing, then we'll ask it to give me 50 ideas on this content piece. And then we'll go through them. And it's not that we're necessarily going to use one of them, but sometimes you just get a spark of inspiration from one of the ideas that you're like, oh, I can do this other thing with it. So I feel like you have to sit down and try to brainstorm with it, not just take it and try to run with whatever it gives you, because otherwise it's not going to be very original. So I think that would be my biggest piece of advice, is not to just do whatever AI says.
Smart. I think these are all very logical approaches, and we're almost at time. So I want to get one more question in just for those who are thinking about how they can grow while also being considerate of budget and finances and not having a lot of money to maybe spend on marketing from a growth side. And I'm curious if for both of you, if you were a small company just starting out, like what would you invest in, whether it be maybe it's actual equipment or tools or working with collaborations? Would love to just get a quick pulse from you both, maybe as concise as possible.
I would say investing in marketing, and specifically in social media. If you're not savvy enough, investing in a social media manager or someone to help you create content is really essential to being a brand nowadays. But if you are native to social, then just hire someone for something that you're not good at. We kind of took too long to do that, so we were doing everything. But I feel like if you hire someone that can help you in your brand journey and your founder journey, like we are doing so much all the time that you need to actually just like allocate your time to things that you are good at and you can be the most efficient at and put all of your energy into. And then also another one I would say is PR. I think we've sent out so many packages, especially when we first launched, to as many influencers and people as possible. And I feel like that's what made people think that we were everywhere. because they would see us in their social media, they would see us in these independent stores from Faire, but then they would see us like from this other influencer, and then somehow there'd be like a recipe going out by this other influencer, recipe developer. And especially like if you have a really good product, then most likely that influencer is going to post about it and you'll see a return. I would hold off on any paid collabs because they're really expensive and they can be pretty risky, but seeding as much as possible, because it really will keep you top of mind when people see you constantly on their feed.
And I also would say, don't throw money on meta ads or whatever type of ads unless you know what content really works for you. I think that before putting money into ads, you really need to understand what content performs well for you and what content really works. And that's all stuff that organic social media will tell you. So as soon as you understand what people resonate with and what is the content that really convert, at that point, then maybe, yes, you can put a little bit of ad spend behind it to really boost it to more people. But I wouldn't just start by throwing money on Instagram and hoping that it shows to a ton of people, because most likely the people that content is going to be shown to are people that are not interested about your brand. So what you really want to do is trying to get as far as possible with organic content, because organic content is going to get shown to people that really resonates to what you do. So before you put any spend behind it, I would really say focus on creating content that converts and content that does well by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Such good insight. Every single thing you say. With that, we are at time, so I do want to wrap up and just make sure that everyone is able to leave with some core takeaways related to all the foundations that Mavi talked about with your bio and your brand and your links, making sure that you have your Faire Direct tool set up on your website and social, building trust through all of the strategies that the Pistakio team mentioned here today, and of course, all the resources that, again, we'll share with you all directly, including this recording. Before you go, we would love for you to share your feedback. It is absolutely paramount that we gather all of your insights and your feelings about how helpful this was for you, your strategies, and as you're thinking about your brand growth. It is incredibly important to us, and we value also what topics you might be wanting to hear from us about next. So please feel free to fill that out. It should show up as a pop-up for you all in terms of the survey. So please go ahead and fill that out. And with that, a huge, huge thank you to the Pistakio team. Again, go follow them at Eat Pistakio, and Mavi from our social media team here at Faire. It has been such a pleasure and such a joy, and I hope everyone here learned a lot today. So look out for an email from us with more insights, and again, tip of the iceberg of all the things that you can do. So thank you for being such a great partner to us here at Faire.